Hey, strong people, Beck here. This show is brought to you by StartingStrongman.com. Go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your strongman training needs. From figure eight lifting straps to ebooks from such as Shaw Strength. Congrats to Brian Shaw on winning the Arnold Australia over the weekend. You can pick up his ebook talking about his training and nutrition. Shaw Strength at store.startingstrongman.com. He won so handedly that he didn't have to do the last event, where a world record in the Atlas Stone Series was set by Rauno Henle of Estonia. He had the fastest time in the 5 Stone Series, I believe like 40-something seconds, and it was a 484-pound or 220 kilos, whatever that works out to, stone at the end of the series. Pretty amazing, and there was 3 competitors that lifted all 5 of those stones, which is a pretty big feat in itself. You can check out all of that, articles, etc. at startingstrongman.com. Also, you can also download the Starting Strongman app. If you're listening to this, you're probably listening to it on your phone. So go into your App Store or Google Play, wherever, search Starting Strongman, download the app. You get all of that news, like when new podcasts are up, when articles, on training and just news in general pops up. It'll be right there, and you can join in the discussion forum as well. So, all right there at your fingertips. And there's no political stuff on there either, unless you count Strongman politics. But if you're listening to this, you probably somewhat enjoy those, anyways. And speaking of Strongman politics, from what I hear is that the Arnold's series, there's less athletes are getting their travel and accommodations covered, and that's up to the athlete to figure out how to get to the show, which is unfortunate because I know some people were flown down there before, but hopefully this keeps going and this sport with stuff like this doesn't keep going backwards. Maybe get into that at some future date more so. What else is going on? Do you want to know how to train for strongman? You want an easy to follow program delivered straight to your phone? Take out the guesswork from your own training. Don't have a lot of money for just $15 a month, or if you use the code STRONGTALK, you can sign up for our Starting Strongman training templates at strongmanprogram.com, and you get just that. Proven programming for the sport of strongman delivered straight to your phone for just $10 a month if you use the code STRONGTALK, and you'll save $5 a month by doing that. Go to strongmanprogram.com to sign up today. You can also go to strongmancoach.com for one-on-one personalized coaching tailored to your upcoming contest. Go to strongmancoach.com, just fill out the intake form, and we'll get you on your way to success. Had a great coaching weekend. I was up at the Beast of the Bay. My client Gary Westrup took second in the heavyweights. Also at the Arnold Australia, another one of my clients, Santina Phillips, took first in the lightweight women. So congrats winning the Arnold Australia. Just all around had a bunch of clients making the podium everywhere, so that's awesome to see. Of course, if, like I said, if you want coaching, you can go to strongmancoach.com, and we'll hook you up with Mike, myself, or all the other qualified coaches that we endorse and work with. This week's guest is Jacob Fincher. Jacob Fincher is a strongman competitor that lives in Waxahachie, Texas. I really hope I said that right. Where he runs his nutrition store, Irok Nutrition. Jacob has been competing in strongman for under a year, but has already earned his pro card by being the highest placing American at the Arnold Amateur World Championships in March. We talk about how he found out about the sport after completing his football career, what he has learned about competing in the past year, and what's next now that he's a pro card and has to make that accession. Didn't say that right, but I like this podcast to be raw, and I don't edit things like that. For better or worse, that's up to you to decide, but that's how I'm going to do it. But yeah, it was a fun conversation with Jacob. He's a cool guy who's just getting done with a little retreat up in the woods at some cabin with his business partner, talking about what's next for Irok Nutrition. So we get into that, and I think it's really interesting to talk to someone who's at a very high level in the sport, but also very new because, he's a, good athlete, obviously, if he's able to get his pro card within a year, and a quick learner. So it's different where, and everything's kind of fresh, and it's all fresh in his mind, and you're really immersed in it versus someone who's been doing it for years and years. You kind of, you don't have that same perspective. So it's what we all kind of want when we start a new sport like this is to, rise to that level of being able to make professional status in a year. So so we do a whole conversation on it and talk to him and go through his contest history, and it was fun. If you are interested in supplements, meal prep service, etc., and happen to live in Waxahachie, Texas, you can check out Jacob's store, Irok Nutrition, at Irok Nutrition on Facebook and Instagram, and that is IROK Nutrition. And if you want to follow Jacob in his training to see what's next for him, you can follow him on Instagram at jfincher56, FINCHER 56, and Jacob Fincher on Facebook. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Strong Talk podcast. I am Kalle Beck, joined by my co-host Michael Battolino, and today's guest Jacob Fincher. Not one, but the highest placing American at the Amateur Arnold World Championships. And we're just talking a little bit before this, and you just went on like a little retreat up to the woods, talk about what's going on. So what is going on, Jacob?
Yeah. No, just kind of heading back from Mount Vernon. My partner Josh and I just get away for a couple of days so we could be away from everyone, just brainstorming on some ideas we had for IROC and some future things we have in plan, and just kind of get away and free the mind for a few days.
Right on.
And that's where we... Huh?
Yeah. So was there any hunting going on? Because it seems like you're an avid hunter.
Not this time. I wish there was. We kind of had a little... We're very, very blessed. We're lucky to have a couple that let us use their cabin for free for the weekend, and we just hung out and cooked and just actually did a lot of fishing off the dock, and just hung out with a pen and paper and brainstormed for the last 72 hours.
So what is IROC? What is IROC, your business?
IROC was kind of a dream me and Josh had a long time ago. We kind of wanted to own our own nutrition store, and we finally got in a position where we could, and November 11th we opened, and we just kind of haven't looked back. Been extremely blessed, and it's been successful, kind of riding that wave, waiting for it to level out and see where we land, to see kind of what the next step holds for us.
It's in Waxahachie?
Yeah, it's in Waxahachie, Texas. Yes, sir.
Is that I pass by the signs all the time driving through Texas. How big of a community is that?
Waxahachie, I think, is it's maybe up to 40,000 now. Right?
Okay.
About 40,000. It's growing fast. I think there was 19,000 when I graduated high school. We're right at 20.
Excellent.
So
and I think
doubled.
I think the first time I saw you, I think was at the CAS. You won the super heavyweights, right? You won the CAS?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I completed the amateur side of that. Yeah.
And so prior to that, I was talking to Brian Barrett, and you're coached by Brian Barrett, right? He coaches you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so Brian is, Kalle and I have known Brian for a really long time, and Brian's pretty much like the heart and soul of Strongman in Texas. I mean, he runs.
Yeah, it seems like
it. He runs so many competitions, and they're all run very well, and he coaches a lot of people at a very high level, and he gets a lot of people into Strongman. So Brian, I'm very fortunate to be in Texas. I mean, as I'm sure you feel the same way. It's a great state.
Yeah, I do, man.
Yes, I'm happy down here. So, how did you get into it? Because you've only been in it for a couple of years.
I mean, it was the Arnold was right at 11 months for me.
Wow.
So 2017 Arnold was. I didn't even know what the Arnold was last year. As far as I knew what the Arnold was as the Expo, Pro Strongman, the fitness stuff, but I didn't know anything about amateur strongman at all as of the Arnold last year. Kind of heard Brian Barrett's name. I recognized the last name. Actually went to college with Logan Barrett, his little brother, and that I remember being in the gym watching kind of trying to watch the live feed, like what is this? I didn't know what it was. And it was about a month later, kind of reached out to Brian. I think my wife Facebooked his brother, and that's kind of how that deal got started, to see if I could train with him.
And that's crazy because that's a very similar story to what happened with Caitlin Burgess and Brian Barrett. He kind of brought her into the sport, and she didn't know much about it, and then she took off. So what was your first competition?
My first competition was the Ronnie last year.
Okay.
I think, it was the Ronnie. Yeah, it was my first one. I'd known them guys for, I think, 2 months, and I'd already kind of started training for it. I'd found out about it, but still didn't know what it was. And Brian had said I could come up and train with them on Sunday, so I just did the Strongman Sunday thing leading up to that. Trained at home, didn't know what I was doing, and then trained with those guys on Sunday, and kind of showed up to the Ronnie not knowing what I was doing. Still don't know what I'm doing.
Did you end up winning the Ronnie?
No, I got third.
Okay.
In the Ronnie. I didn't deadlift a lot. I'd started with Brian and the whole crew, and never really deadlifted before then. So that's always been lacking, is that static stuff.
You had never deadlifted ever?
Well, no, I deadlifted a couple times at 315, maybe 405. No, ever really trying to get that posterior chain up.
Yeah.
So I lacked that for the first 6, 7, 8 months of training, really trying to build it.
So
wow,
what were you doing in your training and athletic background before Strongman then? Because you don't just come into it for 11 months, get your pro card. There has to be some sort of base built up. So
yes, sir.
Play some sports
I played a lot of football. Okay. A lot of football through high school. Went to college at Stephen F. Austin. Played there. Went through a lot of injuries. A lot of blown both ACLs, MCLs, meniscus. Tore, on both knees, had those redone, shoulder redone. So I've been through all the surgeries, but the football kind of recovery, going through that process, getting back out on the field, it kind of transferred over to Strongman really, really well. Just being able to move with the extra weight. I used to weigh 290 in college, so as I've dropped weight and regained it for Strongman, it's really transferred over really, really well.
How much do you weigh?
Right now, I've dropped a lot. It seems like I've dropped a lot of weight since the Arnold, just stressed working and stuff. I'm probably 270 right now. At the Arnold, I weigh, I think, 283.
Okay.
Yeah, so yes, that's not a huge weight for a strongman. And how tall are you?
6'4".
Okay. Yeah, it seems like, man, people don't. It doesn't give enough credit how. I think football is one of the best backgrounds, or you see even all the high-level guys that are playing basketball, or because it's hard to, when you're a big guy, to have that footwork that's so valuable with strongman, knowing how to move your body and move with the weight, which is what a lot of strongman is, versus just doing powerlifting where you're just doing static stuff. I think I make powerlifters mad all the time because I'm always saying that, but that's who I've from what I've seen, when someone makes a quick rise in the sport like that, it's because when you've played a variety of sports and athletics, then it's just, okay, how do I use that same strength and skill I already have for these for these new skills, versus it's just, you're more adept if you've already learned all the different kind of foot drills and everything that's required with playing sports to then know how to do it. When versus someone like me that didn't play a lot of sports, or you got to figure out how to move your body at all in an athletic manner. That takes a long time. But
yeah, getting those feet quick, that hip flexibility, once you've got it, and I lost it for a little while being out of athletics, but that muscle memory finally kicked in. I was able to, move my hips faster, move my feet faster like I used to be able to, and it does. It's a huge transfer. It's definitely lucky to have after playing that much football.
Sure. How many years were you removed from football before you started Strongman?
I would say 12, 13, 14, 15, 4 years.
4 years?
4 years, 4.5 years. I haven't really, and I stopped working out, stopped really training. Then finally that fire that burns, when anybody that's been in a lot of athletics, you got to find something to fill the hole. And I was going to start powerlifting, and kind of was semi-training for that, I guess, just the best of my own knowledge, doing 5-3-1 and stuff like that, just trying to get strong again. And it just wasn't my thing. I wasn't moving fast enough, and that's kind of where all that came from. I wanted to do something different, and just kind of, it was weird when my wife Facebooked Logan, and it just all fell into place really, really fast. Right about the time I was like, man, I need to do something. I want to move. I want to, you know, I was a coach at some semi-pro football team that asked me to come practice and stuff, and I was really thinking about doing that. I was like, man, I really don't want to do that. I was kind of done with football, so it all fell into place really, really well.
So you did the Ronnie, you
Right.
get third. Is that kind of, I mean, did the bug kind of bite you at that point?
Yeah, I was kind of obsessed after that point. And, you know, you finally find something for that, to fill that void.
Yeah.
And I was like, as soon as it was over, I think I talked to Brian. I mean, it was like that day or maybe the next, or it was a few days later. Like, what's next? What do we do now? Like, where's the next one? You know.
What did you do after that?
What
was your next?
Strongest.
Okay, Houston Strongest. And did you
Mm-hmm.
win that? Did you qualify for nationals through that, or?
No, I didn't. I got there, made rookie really bad. I got quite a bit stronger, fixed some things. Still working on that static lift. I think there was a farmer's deadlift for max, and that slowed me down again. Made some rookie mistakes on the yoke and got third there as well. And then after that, I went to Oklahoma Strongest and kind of cleaned up really well and won Oklahoma Strongest.
Yeah, so by
the one in July, Oklahoma City Strongest, that one?
So we had the Ronnie,
Yep.
Houston, and then it was like the second Oklahoma Strongest of the year. I think y'all did one.
Yeah. Okay.
Earlier in the year.
So the one where we did Texas versus Oklahoma, that one?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Awesome. And then from there was nationals after that?
No, I went to Texas Strongest after that and got second.
Okay.
And then nationals after that.
So you did a bunch of competitions in a short period of time and really, got a lot of competitive experience.
Yeah, so I was trying to build that confidence in the sport, just in the events, because every show I went to, every competition I went to I'd never done it. I'd never done that event or never done this. And I was so new, so I just wanted to compete as many times as I could. Technically, sometimes maybe not the best as far as your joints and your recovery, but it was helping my head get better at that event or this event that I haven't really done in front of people before.
Yeah, so doing Strongman for 11 months, how many times have you actually competed then? Because it seems like quite a bit.
Yeah, so it'd be the Ronnie, Houston, Oklahoma, Texas, Nationals, and then the Arnold.
6 times?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a good amount of time. And that's what we talked about with Andrew Triana in a past episode is just when starting out, even if you are a good athlete and competing at a high level, like nothing's going to get you further than getting that experience, actually competing, actually figuring out, getting the commands versus doing the event training. It seemed to do you well, so because you just get better at competing, get that field time. So you go to nationals, that's a whole other deal. Then even though especially in Texas, there's so many good heavyweights, it's always competitive. But then your nationals, there's 40 guys like that, pretty much.
Exactly.
So did you compete in the open or the under 300s?
It was the under 265.
Oh, yeah,
I never had to cut weight for anything. Nationals was the first time I actually had to worry if I was going to, I was maybe 10 pounds over. It wasn't huge, but all the other comps, I'd cruise in at 263 easily without any water cut or worrying about what I ate. I ate what I wanted to, showed up, I weighed right. But nationals, I did have to worry a little bit. I did a small cut, but nothing huge, and weighed in at, I think, 264 that day.
Is that
so right under?
Is that a different mindset when you probably, I'm assuming been a big guy your whole life, and now you actually have to worry about it a little bit?
Yeah, it's a little. To me, I like worrying about it. It makes me take it more serious. I like the little things like that. Cutting weight sucks, or worrying about this, worrying about the weight, or whatever. Some of that stuff, to me, it kind of makes the fire burn more, makes it more serious. What I'm doing is more serious and gives it validity instead of it just being whatever, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but it works for me in my head.
I got you.
Yeah,
No.
I'm the same way because it makes everything have to get more structure, you know? It's a lot easier when you're just, if you're sticking to a diet like you plan, or even if you're trying to lean out, but there's not like you have to weigh under this by this day. It's a lot easier to, you know, have a little bit more wiggle room on how disciplined you are. Versus,
yeah, it was weird because nationals I did worry about it that week before and did everything right. So then we get ready for the Arnold. And that last week I was kind of like, man, I feel like I should be doing something special besides stretching and just resting. I feel like I should like worry about my water and this stuff. I really didn't have to worry about anything. And it seemed kind of, it seemed weird after nationals not doing that.
You know, how did you end up placing in nationals? I mean, obviously enough to qualify for the Arnold, but
fourth in the 265s.
Okay, so you know, Kalle and I kind of talk about leading up to competitions like that. You know, Kalle and I always talk about, you know, who to watch and, you know, who's going to get their pro card, who's going to take it overall, and, you know, being your first nationals, you know, other than people from Texas, you're kind of like relatively unknown. Where people kind of already kind of looking at you like, dude, this guy is moving really well. Like, who is he? You know, and when I was watching the live stream, I remember seeing you, and I was like, man, this guy is good. And then to come back and, you know, when we were watching I think Kalle and I were texting back and forth when we were watching the Arnold a couple weeks ago, and you just clearly had, you know, you had something going on. Like it was good. It was awesome to watch. So what happened at nationals? Did anyone kind of come up and talk to you? Like, where are you from? What are you doing?
I had a few people, but it wasn't nothing that I felt. I don't know. I tend to kind of stay, I guess, not to myself, but I don't know. I kind of stay in that moment and don't pay a whole lot of attention. I tend to stay like pretty focused. A couple people come up and asked me my name, but it was nothing like that. Nothing like, hey, who are you? Like, what are you doing? You know, I still felt I kind of keep myself in an underdog position mindset all the time. Sometimes it doesn't work for some people, but for me, it works really, really well. Just to like, gosh, I'm the weakest guy here. I'm the smallest guy. It doesn't eat at me in a negative way. It actually motivates me. So I kind of stay in that mindset. So even somebody might have, but I kind of, I just dismiss it because I keep going with that mindset I've always used, and it works.
So you get to the banquet at nationals, and they announce, you know, the people that are qualified for the Arnold. What was that like?
Oh, it was pretty cool because I didn't think I was going to qualify. I dropped the Husfeld. I shouldn't. I was really, really comfortable with it, and I dropped it early. It was just, like I said, it was another rookie mistake. And so I was kind of teetering back and forth, and they had on the paperwork that on the event before, it was just a typo, and they switched points, and they had to fix it. So I couldn't see I didn't know where I was.
Oh, okay.
Because, you know, they don't post the very last event.
Right.
But you kind of know if you know the event before. But the event before I didn't know because there was a typo and they had to fix it. So I didn't know if I was 6th, 8th, where I was at.
Sure.
So when they said that, it was definitely exciting. But, I mean, not make myself look dumb, but I still didn't realize, okay, I'm going to the Arnold now. All right, awesome. What's that? I kind of knew what it was, but I knew it was a big deal and it was a good thing, but I'm still kind of all right, well, let's now on to the Arnold.
So you come back and, you know, you talk to Brian, and do you put a game plan together for the Arnold right then?
Yeah. What do we do? I wanted to compete in the Kazmaier. So I did the Kazmaier. Oh, so I forgot about that one. So that was, I guess, another one I competed. I competed in the Kazmaier right after nationals in December. I want to compete too bad, I guess. I probably should have took it off, but even talking to Brian, he's pushed me in the right direction. I owe that guy everything because, I mean, he literally sets me up and puts me in the position to win, especially with the correct programming. But did the Kazmaier, then like right after that, I think I deloaded. He's like, all right, Arnold prep starts now, and we just started going with it. So it was a game plan. Just it's always been from the beginning to get my posterior chain stronger because that's my weakest point. And just all moving events, I need to move faster than everybody else. That's the knuckle dragging game plan for me in my head, I guess.
So, how did the training cycle go for the Arnold?
Really well, till right up in the end, dealing with injuries, old knee injury, shoulder impingement got pretty bad, tendonitis. You know, those whole deal right at the end of your training cycle where everybody's hurting, and then you start second guessing everything.
Yeah.
Then I text Brian griping, and he texts me, "You'll be fine. Shut up. Get back to work." You know what I mean? Like, dude, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, I couldn't pull my deadlift at all. I had pulled the comp weight like a month before, and then couldn't get it off the ground. I think I got it about an inch off the ground 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
Just the body was hurting. So that week, deload week, I had no clue what I was going to do on deadlift. Really, the keg press that I think I tied for first in the keg medley, or the carrying press. That I couldn't hardly. Just the body was tired. It needed the deload, and like always, Brian was right because I felt good. I felt good that day.
Yeah, it's a good point for everyone to listen to, because everyone feels like that and questions it about 2-3 week out. If your training cycles went well, then that means that you're kind of you're diminished because you've trained so hard. So then that's the whole point of taking that rest. So then then you get all that gain from the hard training cycle. So yeah, it's the last couple weeks of training don't dictate how you're going to perform for the most part. But yeah, it's
and it's been harder and harder for me to understand that. But it's been super hard for me to understand that. But I'm getting better at it. Like I still drives me nuts, but I'm starting to slowly come around to understanding that last couple of weeks you just have to get your head right because it's going to suck and you're going to doubt everything.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's normal. And just having that, just believing in yourself that whole time is powerful. You have to.
Yes, sir.
So you say you win the keg, clean and press, carry, whatever medley. It was a very different event, which I like. I like when there's new styles. There's only so many ways we can do the same thing over and over, but it's a nice change. And there's a little bit more athleticism than a straight like clean and press with that, because you're moving between it. So you tie for first, set yourself up well. What was it? Let's just run through the events and how they went. So what was next?
I think what was next? The yoke. I think the next was the yoke.
Mm-hmm.
Was it? Yeah, it was the yoke. Yoke has kind of been a love-hate relationship. It's a moving event, so I always want it. I want there to be a yoke. I want there to be something where we're moving A to B. 900 was extremely heavy for me leading up to it. I mean, I remember whenever it wasn't 8 or 9 months ago, 600, I kept dropping off my back. I couldn't. Leading up to the Arnold, I ran 900 a couple of times. I think 925 once. Never was under. I think my fastest time I did like a 13 or a 14 second with the 900, no drops, and I was ecstatic. I'm like, man, if I could do that again, that's the best I can ask for. The Arnold, I did like a 13:01, so beat a PR'd by a second. So I was, at that point, didn't matter. I was happy. On to the next one. Kind of didn't really need to look at what everybody else did because that was better than I'd ever done. And I think what was next? The deadlift.
Yeah, the deadlift. This is the important. Well, let's just. It can be out of order, but that's the important one. Mm-hmm. You're saying that's your weakness. So what's the mindset? You've had 2 good events going into the deadlift. The one you're worried about, you only got an inch off the ground a couple weeks prior, so you gotta get ready to do it. So it's gonna be. Kind
it was
of
definitely an attitude
right?
adjustment. Yeah, it was make or break it. Like I didn't really want to be. Don't want to be a one-trick pony and only want to be able to do movement events. I want to be able to. I always say it, telling my training partners and Josh, my partner in Irok, I really want an elite deadlift. I kind of want to validate being a smaller guy with a big deadlift for my weight class. But went into that hoping it's like, I know I'm going to have that adrenaline boost. Maybe I'm going to pull one, get two, or grind out the second one. And I think I ended with 6.
Damn.
Which was, once I started rolling, I could feel it. The jack stands were a little different. Didn't really bother me too much, but just being able to, after I pulled that third one, I kind of felt, okay, I got a few more left. The confidence started building.
Sure.
And 6 was huge for me. So I pulled 6, felt something kind of give, felt the hamstring kind of pull a little. So when there was 15 seconds left and I just dropped it and was like, well, I'm just going to save it. I'm not going to screw something up for the next event. I did way better than I thought I would. Kind of waited that last 15 seconds off. I don't think I would have got a 7th anyway, so it really wasn't going to waste the energy.
Yeah, just grinding out a half rep that you end up dropping 2 or 3 times. That just can just shoot, just kill you for the next couple of events.
Yeah.
But
knowing the next event should have been my best, I kind of wanted to go into that next one as fresh as I could.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the that kind of mentality right there is the the athlete. You kind of it's a different mentality where people that come into a sport like this versus where they're just lifting in the gym all the time, I think, and that's kind of how they've approached things. I think when you're an athlete, you kind of realize you're playing the whole game, not just that down or whatever.
Oh yeah, you got to think about the whole entire comp before you get there. What's your best? What's your worst? How do we need to be? Something, you know what I mean? I'm not very good at looking at what other people do. So sometimes the strategy of, okay, I only need to get 6 reps because 5's the one to beat. I'm really bad at that. So I've had to learn to get better at that. Is, okay, if it's an overhead press event that I could potentially win, I need to know that I need to stop at a certain place. I don't need to just kill it and be drained for another event. So sure. I'm slowly getting better at that part.
It's hard too when it's an event with so many competitors like Nationals or the Arnold, worrying about what every single person's doing, because the point swing can be big. There's some presser who's going to get 13 or something, then he's going to not finish the yoke. There's all those people, there's outliers in their special events. So it's once you that's going to become more important now, moving on to the next level, doing pro comps where there's going to be less guys, I think.
Yes, sir.
Because it's a lot easier to keep track of 8-10 guys. You have more of a history on. You kind of can be more aware of what their range is for each event, anyways, and everyone gets used to each other. But I think, especially just not focusing on the competition can be a good thing when you're new and already competing at a high level. But
I made a mistake early on. I focused on it leading up to the event, watching people, which I've tried to get away from. Tried to slowly get away from paying attention. Then at the event, when I should probably pay a little more attention, it was like I get so focused on my own deal, I kind of lose it. But it works for me that way.
Yeah, well,
it seems to be.
It's all you can control at the end of the day. That's what you're gonna do. You can't. You have no control over any of the other variables, so it's good to focus on what you actually have an impact on. So was that the end of day one events?
I think we had the overhead press with the axle cleaning press for reps.
Sure, yeah.
A lot of people had a lot of trouble with that cleaning that axle.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I expected that was the event that I was silently confident about. Had a lot of shoulder just nagging injuries leading up. Rossi did a great job helping me get kind of where I could move. That arm was kind of shutting down. I was silently confident going up there. Like, I was seeing a lot of guys having trouble. Went to warm-ups, felt really, really good, and cleaned the first rep. And I was like, I'm wanting double digits really bad. I knew I could win it, and ended up getting 6. I just started. I'm kind of nursing a nagging knee injury now, and kind of had that knee pop a little bit, and I lost the push part of the push press, and started having to go into more of a strict, and ended with 6, just because I couldn't use that push like I wanted to, and that axle bar everybody's having trouble with. It kind of everything was so tight, it kind of make you lean back, but it's just part of competing, man. You get out there and sometimes it's not perfect like you want to in training. You just got to deal with it.
It's the beauty of strongman that nothing is standard. So,
Mm-hmm.
it's not going to feel like it does at home all the time, and you have to adjust.
Yep.
Yeah, I pointed out to a couple people just looking at the design of that Bartos axle that it had it had all the spacers because like we said, Mike, Mike's good at making adjustable, lots of making things out of metal with spacers.
Making things with spacers.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
kind of his deal. So, and then if it bolts at the and then it bolts at the end, I'm like, yeah, that thing's not going to loosen up, but the plates aren't going to be loose either. So it's going to be a whole different deal. And it's a fixed axle like they all were originally. So
It's like having that, like they're welded there, they don't spin. I mean, the axle doesn't spin anyway, but with those weights not having any give, it's a whole new, it's like a whole new type of press just because the way as soon as you press up, the weight doesn't spin. It's so fixed, it kind of makes your body drift backwards, and you really got to turn it into a big core deal.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, the first axle was like the Apollon's axle, which was, like a set of train wheels on an axle. It's just one solid chunk of metal that's, 330 pounds, right, Mike? 150 kilos?
It's somewhere, somewhere in that range.
363, I think.
160 kilos.
Yeah, which is, I think, 363. So that's how it was originally. Then, we start adjusting things to the gym. So, you put a set of bumper plates on in an Iron Mine axle and some loose clamps, and at least the thing rolls within the plates. But yeah, if that whole weight's fixed, or people they don't think about these things like, a log that's 250 pounds empty is going to be a lot harder to clean than one that's 90 pounds empty with a bunch of weights on the side, because it's just because it's at least going to spin a little bit in the plates. So when you clean, you got to torque it over. It's just a whole different deal. But yeah, there's all those little things, and you got to adjust. And when your knee's giving out and you don't get any leg drive, that's going to be a big adjustment as well.
Exactly. That was kind of a problem. I lost the leg drive.
Yeah.
Just had to gut it out.
So going in, what was your goal going into the Arnold? So, you get done with day one, you make the second day on the main stage, which is huge. That's
huge. Yeah.
That's, that's where everyone
that was
wants
more
to
or
be.
less the goal.
To make day two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian told me early on in the year, right after New Year, I don't remember what time it was. He sent me the programming, and it's like make goals for the year. To that effect, just summarize it. And I wrote a bunch of goals down, just strongman goals and life stuff, as far as my business. And one of it, down the list says the Arnold, and it just says day 2. That's all it said, and I had it circled. So that was the goal for the Arnold, was day 2, and making it that far, I want to say I was happy to be there, but the position I was going into day 2, I was at that point, I was like, I can compete. I can do this, which I didn't know what I could do. And I was like, I can compete with these guys. I can move with them. Just need to fix a few things, stop the rookie mistakes, and just roll on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's the interesting thing about the Arnold Amateur is there's always a couple, Eastern Europeans or whatever.
Amateurs.
In
quotations.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I get you.
So if you're competing with those, you're competing at, people that compete at, some of the highest level circuits around the world.
From Champions League.
Sure.
Giants Live. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to look at the past champions. Or, Hafthor Bjornsson got his start through the Arnold Amateur. Mateusz Kilkowski, Mike Jenkins, just the list goes on and on. Some of the best, like that's, kind of the route it all goes. So you make day 2, you're in a good position. They call, you get you're up on that main stage. They announce you, they announce your country. Well, how's that feel? What's going through your head?
It felt great. It was kind of it brought back I seem like a pretty nervous person. I am. I'm full of anxiety all the time. Anybody would tell you that knows me. In that situation, honestly, it just kind of brought back the old days, like the football days when you're in front of a lot of people. I don't really see what's going on. It just felt really, really good. I did feel kind of at home at that point. I'm ready to let's go. Like I was kind of in that mode of let's do it. Had a lot of support from great people there that were there with me, and Brian Barrett, his whole family, Caitlin Burgess, Scott Rogelman, everybody. Like they just kind of poured into me there, and I was focused, ready to roll.
Absolutely. So yeah, we do. And then that's a. That's a living. Those kind of feelings are everything like you dream about, and then you experience this. What it's what makes life worth living, and all the heart training worth it when you just have that moment like that. So, but then you still got to go out and do 2 more events, and you do a stone series with multiple stones of steel.
340 each.
Yeah, they were 340 each, I believe. Yeah.
What was your best stone of steel going into the competition?
I did right at the end. Like I was having those issues with my shoulder, so and real bad tendonitis. So the stones I was having trouble with. In the last week of training, I actually hit some stones really well for how I had been hitting them. They were slow, but they were well. I think one was like 346, and I did a couple sets of 2. Felt really good. I think I did 3 sets. The third set, I moved it really well. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like I know as long as I don't screw the stones up, I can compete with the stones. I felt good with the weight. So 346 is probably the heaviest I've ever pulled or picked up.
So were you confident going into that stone series?
I was confident in the weight and the movement, that event. Just don't screw it up. I did a little bit, bobbled one of the stones. It's going a little too fast. It cost me a few seconds, but I was confident in the event. Just didn't need to screw it up is all I was thinking.
And what did you end up placing in that event?
Oh, I think it was third.
Third.
I think I got third in that event. I think at 27 seconds, that bobble cost me a few seconds. So I think the fastest time was 21. I think I was third, right there in that top half.
And that, at that point, were you the highest placing American at that point, or were you still behind anyone?
No, that put me at the highest placing. Me and Josh were in the same heat. Reynolds, awesome competitor, obviously huge overhead press. It's crazy.
Yes, static.
I could hear him behind me. Yeah, we were in the same heat. I could hear him behind me, and I'm so focused, but you can still hear that stone get loaded. I heard him load one, and I continued to go, and I never heard another one load. And I didn't know at that point. I just stopped thinking. Just wanted to get all 5 loaded as fast as possible. And when I turned around, he didn't load them. I'm cheering him on to try to get that. I think it was the second or third stone loaded. And at that point, I knew I was the top placing because he was the only one in front of me at that time.
Yeah. So yeah, you were able to, with a good performance, jump ahead going to the last event, and that was a mystery event leading up to it, which I'm a fan of personally.
When did you find out about that medley? Was it the night before, or?
I think they released it maybe a week before.
Yeah.
Oh, a week before. Okay.
Maybe a week, but I mean it was a deload week for me. So really, I mean, I wasn't going to go in and overthink it because I tend to overthink everything.
Yeah.
So I kind of just, all right, well, I know what it is. Let's just roll with it.
You were happy. I'm sure it's a moving event. You got to go fast, so that was good for you.
Yeah, I was really happy. It was a moving event. Didn't do as well in it as I should have. The knee was starting to swell pretty bad. I'm not going to blame it on that, but the knee was swelling up pretty bad. So, and just I dropped, moved the keg really well, and then the farmers to the duck walk, which I should have blazed through. I dropped multiple times. I still won my heat, but I barely won my heat. But that knee was giving me a lot of issues. But again, that's strongman, right?
Sure.
And how did you end up placing on that one?
What was it? Fourth, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe at that point, it's weird that I don't know the placings right there. Because at that point, I was like, I just kind of would go out there, do the stones, went and sit down. Go do the Ellie, went and sit down. I was so probably overly focused at that point. I didn't huge stage, wasn't super nervous, but was just more or less going to do my thing and go sit down. We'll see what happens here in a little bit.
So after you finish the medley and you sit down, was your thought, damn, my knee hurts? Or was it, I think I might have won my pro card?
Honestly, man, and you guys are going to laugh again. Being as new as I am at the sport, I didn't know that I was going to get my pro card as being the top placing American. They kind of, Brian had mentioned it. Mike Bass had mentioned it. But I guess I don't know, I was so focused on just getting it done. It didn't cross my mind. I mean, even once we went on the stage, they didn't announce it, it's okay.
It's different though. It's surprising,
Oh yeah. Then they come backstage. I think Miss Dion come back and told me in the back. She apologized. I'm sorry. We rushed you off stage. I'm like, hey, it's okay. I'm not mad. You just told me I got my pro card, so I'm not upset.
Yeah. Can't be too mad. Yeah, it's a weird thing where that's pretty much the amateur world finals, like kind of the last event of the Arnold, so they're getting yelled at by everyone at the end, like the expo's closing and everything, so they gotta get it done, get it out of there. So that's kind of how that works. But so you get your pro card, I'm sure you're happy. Coach Brian Barrett's happy. Texas, like we're talking about, it's kind of everyone's pretty close knit. Everyone's very prideful of all the other competitors, in the area. It seems like. How's that feel?
It really felt great, man. It validated a lot of. Like I said, I'm a person that's full of anxiety about just about everything, and it really validated a lot of work and a lot of just sleeplessness and training. We started Irok, so we've been doing that and trying to get training in, going up to Arlington Strength and Danny and Sarah keeping it open or staying with me while I'm loading stones 10, 11 o'clock at night. They've been a huge help. So it validated all that extra stuff that you really don't need validation for, but when you get something like this, like, okay, blessed is what it was at the end, just extremely blessed.
Absolutely. So you got your nutrition company. Is that just local, like nutrition shop, or do you do any online business?
It's just local right now. Online's coming soon. Kind of working with the point of sale system a little bit, having some issues as far as supplements online through certain point of sale systems. It's kind of it's a cluster, really. Hopefully, by the time the online's up, I'll have another store. Maybe, if God willing, that's the plan. If not, then we'll do something else. But the plan is to have another one soon. If, like I said, if the good Lord's going to let us.
And you mentioned meal prep. So how does that work?
We sell pre-made meals. It's through a company called Fit for All. It's a military couple, great people. Chuck and Melanie, they do everything. I mean, they cook, they package, they bring it in. It's fresh, never frozen. We started off selling, I think, 30, 40 a week, and now we probably push out 400 a week. We sell. Wow. They're cheap enough that it's worth it. You're not overspending to try to eat healthy. Trying to make it a little more easier, little more small town, even though Waxahachie's growing, friendly for the booming fitness that industry that's happening there right now. Trying to make it easier for a normal person to kind of get on that wagon of wanting to be healthy and wanting to eat right, train right, or whatever they're trying to do.
Yeah, and just it's a little more expensive than doing it yourself, usually a meal prep, but man, it doesn't make it any easier. That you got to factor in time. I was just talking to Mike. He's like, before doing the podcast, he's doing all his meal prep for the week, and how much time does that take you versus you just going down to the store doing that. You could get some of your own work done. Probably you might end up ahead on it. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, so I'm sure, you implement that kind of stuff in your own diet, nutrition too.
I do. I'm a little different, not a little different, but Josh, my partner, he's a bodybuilder, so it's his nutrition as far as what he's putting in whole food wise is way different than mine because obviously I'm a light guy in my division. So right now I'm trying to gain weight, so I'm really eating everything in sight, trying to gain the pounds. So right now, as far as my eating healthy, it's very sparing trying to gain weight. It's hard training like we do and eating very, very clean to gain the weight that I need to gain.
What's a typical day eating look like for Jacob Fincher?
I don't know if I want to say that. It's pretty bad right now. Normal before I started this, it was only 3 meals a day. Nothing special. Eggs, oats in the morning, maybe with the protein, maybe all mixed together. Usually like an egg white, raw oats, and whatever protein I'm using. Then sometimes I wouldn't do anything until lunch, and then lunch is going to be fast food most of the time, and then dinner. My wife does a really good job. She cooks 6 out of 7 nights a week, so that works really well. But now that I'm trying to gain weight, and Josh is pushing me to eat 6 times a day or try to eat every 2 hours, that gets tough for me because I'm typically not hungry every 2 hours. But just whatever I can find. We put it this way: the store's right next to Fuzzy's Tacos, so I'm keeping them in business.
So, in terms of diets, just so you don't feel too bad, I'm gonna give Kalle a quick quiz here and see if he can tell me whose diet this is. So this is a direct quote, Kalle. Okay.
All right.
My energy comes from my diet. Breakfast is 10 eggs and 2 to 3 pounds of bacon. Between meals, I eat lots of candy. I need it for energy. Lunch at 1 or 2 p.m. is a double meal of Polish pork chop, sauerkraut, and potatoes. An hour later, I work out, then take my supplements, all that stuff, and more chocolate. Dinner is whatever I can get: steak, pork chops, bacon, plus more sauerkraut and potatoes. And after I work out, I have a protein shake and more chocolate.
Yeah, I think the sauerkraut, it makes it pretty easy. But no, yeah, that's the famous Mariusz Pudzianowski, and
that it is.
And people always question that. They thought he was trolling, but when I went to Worlds in 2007, he's just eating chocolate the whole time. We went to I think, I don't know, because there was like a lunch intermission at the hotel, so then I'm just a fanboy at that time, just watching, and then everyone's eating, and Marius is over there, and I think he just got like a big old plate of bacon and just covered in maple syrup. If I remember right. That might be made up in my mind. I don't know, but that's what I remember.
You're probably right, man.
I mean, that's a good meal. You try that, like when you wake up on a Sunday after training events and you feel like crap, just like.
And then look like that. Then look like he does.
Yeah, no, that part never worked out for me eating like that, but
no.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is his whole family was there at Worlds, and they all look like smaller versions of him. Like he has like a 75-year-old like grandfather who's just like sinewy, vast, like arms everywhere. Like the guy's probably only 140 pounds, but he still has that look like fat just doesn't stick to anyone in their whole family. If
genetics
only.
Is awesome.
Yeah, if only. Genetics is
good
life,
genetics are awesome.
Yeah, life is not fair. I tell people that all the time.
So after the maybe gaining a couple more pounds through some chicken and rice throughout the day, what's the next competition? What's the next competition lined up for you? What are you thinking?
Honestly, I don't know. I've been basically deloading, not touching the weights really. I went and did a little deadlift the other day and a couple small little bodybuilding workouts, nothing serious. I start training tomorrow, back to just a general program, try to start going back up the ladder. I don't know. I'm talking to Brian. He's got a couple ideas, really nursing a nagging knee right now that I'm trying to figure out what's my best option for it. It's tore up from past injuries, but I really, like I said, that fire's burning. I want to do something. So
well, you say nursing. Really you say nursing, but last week in the Dallas Strongest Man, every time they had to move the Conan's wheel back, which was like 6 or 650, I think you very easily picked it up and moved it like 5 feet. So that's nursing.
I was getting yelled at by Scott. He made me. He made me do it. No, I really want to see what the next. I want to compete like ASAP, even though it's going to be obviously a whole different world for me. But I want to see how moving on this knee with some heavy weight again, go through that progression, and try to be a little smarter than I have been over the last 10 years of my life with my training. The last 11 months is probably the smartest I've ever been. Obviously, with Brian's help, training 4 days a week instead of 7. Not tearing myself up as much. I told him that when I first started. He goes, "Wow." He goes, "Yeah, you can't do that." He goes, "You can't do that in strongman. You're gonna have to take some days off." So
not with this kind of weights.
Yeah.
So, are you thinking America's Strongest Man? Is that something that might happen?
I want to. I really want to. I want to gain the weight and go and just compete and honestly see where I stack up. See where obviously I'm going to have a lot of weak points as a pro. So I got a lot of work to do. But that would be the goal. If the knee felt good, that's where I want to go.
Well, you've also got the other recent pro, Jerry Pritchett. I think he's going to go to America's Strongest Man this year. He's pretty good from what I hear.
Yeah.
Think he's done okay. So no, that'll be awesome, man. I mean, America's Strongest Man. I don't know if Kalle feels like this, but sometimes I feel like it really gets overlooked.
Oh, it definitely.
And and if a lot of guys just don't show up because they don't feel, they're like, I got something else going on. But if we get the right people going, then it could be big again, like it should be. I mean, it should be an important title to have.
Well, you look at Britain's Strongest Man, and that's in a damn stadium, and they're selling it out, and
yeah,
I don't see any and then I think it was Clint Darden posted a video from like 2003 America's Strongest Man, and it looked like it was like at like the Mohegan Sun or something, and they're doing like the Home Depot sled drag, and like there was like some like medical company farmers walk, like crazy. It's just it's and everyone was there. I think like Phil Pfister was there, the people from there, like Jesse Marunde, that all the top guys back then, and it's and then ASM last year's at a parking lot in a casino. It's a difference.
Right.
It's just you wonder how it and I don't have any answers, so I'm just talking shit, but you wonder how it can get back there. You love the sport, you want to see that. So hopefully, I think the world of strongman is improving overall, and to be it's the right time to get in the sport because there's just more and more opportunities, all the different Arnolds and everything. It seems like it's just hitting another peak again, like it was in the early mid 2000s. Was another peak, and there's been and it kind of went back down. It seems like it's all going back up. So good time to be a pro is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to seeing what you do next. Hopefully, healing up that knee and keep getting stronger and a little bigger, enjoying those tacos. If anyone's in your area, just and they need some supplements or some meal prep, or they just just go ahead and let them know the company again. You guys got a website or any of your own personal social medias if you want to, people want to follow your training and see what you do next.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, if they're ever around Waxahachie, it's Irok Nutrition. It's right next to Fuzzy's. You can find it on Facebook and Instagram, just Irok Nutrition. Also mine and Josh, Jay Fincher 56 on Instagram, and then Jacob Fincher on Facebook. Anybody wants to reach out to us, is more than welcome to do that, and we'll help them out any way we can.
Awesome. Really appreciate you coming on. It's fun talking to you again, know you a little bit more.
One last question.
Yeah,
One last question. What does IROC stand for? Is there a story behind that?
They're kind of, it started off as a joke, and it's one of those kind of, you're talking about it, and then somebody made the joke, and I'm like, well, let's just call it that. And it kind of stuck. We kind of wrote it on a notebook paper. We were always going to change it, and never did.
Awesome.
If that makes sense. And that's totally honest. It was like you wrote it at the top of the paper, making a notebook business plan, and never changed it after that.
Those are the best stories. That's why I asked.
So is it because you're a big Camaro fan? Is that why?
That is like the 1,000th time I've been asked that.
Of course. No. You didn't have like an 85 Camaro with T-tops in high school, and you just always loved it and longed for it or something?
That's what I tell everybody. They say, yeah, that's my dad. He wanted to name it Irok, so he's a Camaro fan. That's kind of the go-to joke.
Yeah, well, I'm, that's a, other than Strongman and stuff, that's my other thing is, old
that's
Chevy
your deal,
cars.
man. Yeah.
So gotta, that's where my mind's going to go. But cool. Yeah, it's, appreciate having you on again, and good luck. Hopefully see you at ASM and the knee heals up, and open up a second store and all that stuff. Really appreciate. I know you had like a nice relaxing retreat. You get to go out in the woods, and you gotta sit on the way back, talk to Mike and I for an hour to go back through everything. So really appreciate you taking that time.
I sure appreciate you guys.
No, but
I appreciate you guys.
I knew it'd be fun. So. It's like,
awesome.
Let's get Fincher on. This will be good.
Awesome. And appreciate everyone listening. You can follow Mike Battolino at Chrono Strength, at Starting Strongman for everything. You can apply for